Prime Minister is in Mexico today for a photo op and fake agreement, but it's a great opportunity to compare because both countries are neighbors of the United States. In the last quarter, Canada's economy shrunk by 1.6%, while the Mexican economy grew by 2.4%. Wow. The Canadian exports to the United States crashed by 18%, while Mexican exports to the U.S. are up 1.4%. Wow. And the Canadian unemployment rate is 3 times higher than Mexicans. Wow. Will the Prime Minister ask his Mexican friends what they're doing right that he's doing so wrong?
Right here.
Mr. Speaker, this Prime Minister believes in having a strong relationship with Mexico, our second biggest trading partner. That's exactly why he is in Mexico today, meeting with the President to make sure that we can have our trading relationship really on par. Now, the other thing that the leader of the opposition needs to understand is that we're living in a much more dangerous and complicated world with trade tensions having impacts on trading partners all around the world. We will stand up for workers, we'll stand up for our businesses, and we'll build Canada strong.
This is the time in the life cycle of any Liberal government when they go from making promises to making excuses. So they're blaming their collapsing economy on global tensions. But interestingly, Mexico shares the same neighbor as we do. We're both right next door to the Americas, so we can compare performance. But in the most recent quarter, the Mexican economy has actually grown by 2.4%. The Canadian economy down by 1.6%. Our unemployment is three times what theirs is. Why?
Mr. Speaker, what is shocking from the leader of the opposition comments is always talking down Canadian workers, Canadian businesses, the Canadian economy. You know what? Good news is the Bank of Canada yesterday reduced rates. We should all be celebrating that. This is good news, Mr. Speaker. And we will be there for businesses in the tariff sectors, including aluminum, steel, auto, copper, and all the other sectors, because we know that these workers are important, these businesses are important, and we have a plan to build Canada strong.
We've had a free trade agreement with Mexico for almost 3 decades. So the Prime Minister is going for nothing more than a photo op, another fake engagement. Just like the minister talks about interest rates, the Bank of Canada said the reason they're cutting rates while inflation is rising is because our economy is collapsing. They promised the fastest growing economy in the G7. They've delivered the fastest shrinking economy in the G7. They promised more home building. It's falling by 13%. They promised to spend less. Their deficit spending is 100% more. You know, talk is cheap, but why is it so expensive when this Prime Minister does it?
We know that the leader of the opposition believes in isolationism, which is basically that Canada is by itself in the world. We believe that we need to engage in the world. We need to make sure that Canada is working with trading partners from Mexico, from Europe to Asia. And that is why the Prime Minister will continue to travel to make sure to engage with leaders of this in the world, because we believe that it is the way to build a strong economy at home, save and protect jobs, create new ones, attract foreign direct investments, and ultimately to make sure that Canada's voice of peace and multilateralism is heard in the world.
We've had free trade agreements with all of those countries and regions for over a decade, and yet the Prime Minister is busy, looking busy, flying around, grip and grin, pretending to do a lot while doing very little. But he could make use of all of that expensive travel by asking all of those other places why their economy is so much stronger than the one that he now leads. He's got, under his leadership, the second highest unemployment in the G7, the worst economic growth in the G7, the worst household debt in the G7, and the worst household debt and housing costs in the G7. Why is it that when he promises to be the first, he's the worst?
Mr. Speaker, as we look at what's happening with global trade headwinds, we need to step up as a country and be there around the world to make sure countries know that we are here. They want to deal with a reliable, stable trading partner. It's our 15 free trade agreements with 51 different countries, access to 1.5 billion consumers that countries rely on, that Canadian workers rely on. That's why the Prime Minister will be there to make sure we're opening up new markets for Canadian businesses and workers. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
These aren't new markets. The member might have been asleep. Actually, he seems like a very young man. Maybe he wasn't born when Brian Mulroney negotiated NAFTA with the Mexicans. Maybe the Prime Minister was sleeping the day Conservatives negotiated a free trade agreement with the Europeans. He's going around taking credit for things that he never did while his economy collapses here at home. Canadians cannot eat, heat, or house themselves. Will the Prime Minister stop making excuses, taking fake trips, and get down to his job?